This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Excuse me. This is your Don't Take It Out on the Messenger leader fan radio network.
What do you mean?
And KFAN.com. 1 minute and 55 seconds past 3 o'clock Central Daylight Time. We welcome you back to a Monday edition of the Bumper to Bumper program on a, fairly sunny, crisp Monday afternoon here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Guardsy produces the show. He is back from a very successful trip to Iowa City. I am the host of the program, Sultan of Snark. My name is Dan Barreiro. We will be with you 6:30 tonight, going all the way.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much full bore the whole week.
So the
Thursday.
Reality is setting in, is what you're saying. After last week where we had a lot of short shows, that is over for the least immediate future. We're delighted you're along for today's bumpy ride. The Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line is open at 64686 if you'd like to participate in the festivities today. Adam Thielen, we think, at 3:30. Is that tentative? Or is that too much to say?
I'd say
50-50?
I'd say it's 75% we're good.
Okay.
It was told we should be good. We'll confirm as soon as we can.
That's fair.
Not been confirmed, but we should be good.
All right, so decent shot at the Vikings wide receiver at 3:30 today. We also expect Ben Lieber to return at 4:47. And Johnny, 5:30?
You got it.
Johnny Athletic at 5:30 this evening. We spent a lot of time, this will shock you, I was very much in the, don't shoot the messenger mode yesterday. Some people were very, well, it's interesting. Some people were very unhappy with the approach I took on the show. Some people thought I needed to be even tougher than I was. You can never, you're never going to win everybody over. I don't want to repeat yesterday's program, although we could broaden it out on the basis of what took place yesterday, in which, your Minnesota Timberwolves, I would call it, for me, a moral loss, even though technically in the standings it's a victory.
Yep.
Indiana Pacers were missing 11 players, and they still scared the crap out of us as we approach Halloween. We won.
We did.
And we also, lost Anthony Edwards.
Right.
But it was, it almost felt like we're going to find a way to lose this game. And regarding that vow that we're going to reestablish our defensive dominance, let me know when that kicks in.
It's early in that process.
It seems very
like
early, and I know it's early in the season, too. That's a long way from here to there. But all we can go on is what we can go on right now. And I said this yesterday that everybody's had their shot at this by now. I just don't think, it is what it is. So you can get mad at me, you can get mad at other people, but I said this to you before, and I mean it. When I was little Danny Barreiro, a huge sports rube, Cubs, Bears, the beginning of the Bulls, and definitely the Blackhawks. I did not want to be lied to. I did not want to be comforted. If my team was struggling, if there were some things going on that were troubling to me as a serious fan who watched every damn game, I didn't want pablum. I didn't want people going, everything's good, everything's fine. I was in the mode of, I want to know, what do the insiders think's happening here? How can it get better? Where can it get better? So I'll state it at the top of this show this way, because we've all kind of laid out just how pathetic this weekend has been on a number of fronts.
Bad.
It really has. Dan Minnesota is the unofficial sports historian of the Bumper to Bumper show, and he may have done analytics on this before, because it's hard. How do you quantify, compare weekends of badness? Because we've had some disastrous weekends before over the decades I've been in this town, but I got to think. I don't want to go too far down the recency bias mode, but I got to think that at the very least, this past weekend is top 5. It's got to be top 5 of all time. And I think here's part of the reason. I can look back on the Jim Wacker era, for example, and you could say, well, there were a bunch of games during that era. Then it was just a matter of, well, what were the other teams doing on that particular weekend that the Gophers were getting killed by 70, right? What's different now, though, is these Gophers are not Jim Wacker's Gophers. They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be in a very, very different mode and seem to be as recently as the week before against the University of Nebraska. So some of this is, I think, we want to grade on a little tougher curve where we don't make the allowances that back then we might have for the Gophers, because then they were just hapless. They were the ongoing joke to such a degree that people stopped joking about them, really, because it was almost felt like it was cruel and it almost felt like it was piling on. But we can get into some of the particulars here. The stat that got my attention from your game that we mentioned yesterday, which you may have also mentioned on Gopher Football Sunday, I don't know, was that through 4 possessions, the Gophers had 1 net yard while Iowa was already building a 31-0 lead. That's hard to do. That's very hard to do. But pretty much every team, Minnesota Wild, we've given up a league-high 39 goals. Actually, let me back up. I think that's the second highest. We're at minus 11 in goal differential. That's the third worst, right? Vikings, well, we're 22nd. We're 19th in scoring defense. We're 22nd in turnover differential. And we've beaten the following quarterbacks this year: Caleb Williams, Dylan Gabriel, and Jake Browning, who respectively rank 18, 31, and 32 in QBR rankings. In other words, we haven't beaten anybody to this point, really. Your guy, Jalen Hurts, and your guy, Justin Herbert, completed 77% of their passes for 6 touchdowns and 1 INT the last 2 weeks and 553 yards. Now, you'll notice those quarterbacks are ranked a little higher than the 3 I just named that we beat. Sooner or later, you got to at least play better against legitimate quarterbacks, do you not? I mean, it has to happen from time to time, I would think. Golden Gopher men's hockey, what's the number? Is it 2-5-1 after the weekend?
Wasn't a very good weekend.
I think we're 2-5-1 after getting swept as well. So we can come up with a million of these numbers that seem to quantify just how bad, historically bad, this weekend was. Here's the question I'd like to maybe base this entire show around a bit, or build it around. We know how bad it was. We know the teams that are involved. The question is, which of these teams worry you the most? Which of these teams that had such a cataclysmically bad weekend, or going back to Thursday night in the case of the Vikings, so it's a long weekend, which of these do you say, well, I don't know, man, I'm not sure. I'm not saying it's going to stay this bad, but I'm queasy about where this thing is going. That's the question I have via the Bradshaw and Bryant inbox, KFAN text line, is which of these teams do you think they'll recover? And which of these teams do you say, I don't know, they got problems. They got significant problems. So take that under advisement early. Give me some ideas and some suggestions. Guardsy and I can talk about that as well.
You know who I was thinking about this weekend?
Who was that?
As I was on the sideline at Kinnick Stadium.
God bless you.
And this had to have been, what time did the game start? 2:30? It did, right?
I think 2:40.
So, yeah. So
they milked it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So this would have been about 3:12.
Okay.
So about 40, pretty early on. I was thinking about all the rubes that had joined the power trip for their most recent Vegas trip, Vegas Your Way this time, and had gone to the various watch parties, because it was billed as, come see us in Vegas. We're going to do a couple of different watch parties at Tom's Watch Bar on the Strip in Vegas. It'll be a great time. Come watch us, Vikings and Chargers. We'll be back there for Gophers, Iowa. We've got a watch party weekend. I'm sitting there and I'm going, those poor watch parties.
Yeah.
Because I had a watch party, too, for the Vikings game.
Oh, that's right.
And
how'd that go?
I can confirm about halftime.
Because you were off Friday, so we haven't talked since then.
I can confirm most people were gone by halftime of the watch party.
So were they angry, or were they just morose?
Morose, I think, is the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I was at Kinnick Stadium. 30 minutes in. It's like, we still got 2.5 hours of this thing, and it's over. It's over just like that.
Maybe that's what we're looking for. On the morose meter, who are you most morose about because of a nagging concern? Obviously, it's got to get a little better for most, if not all, of these teams. But how concerned are you that in some cases, like, no, man, these are fundamental. This is what we are this year. This might be kind of the kind of season that we're going to be dealing with. I'm curious to get opinions there. I already got somebody reminding me, Pacers beat the Wolves last year with their backups.
I was there.
So what?
Yeah.
It almost as if he's saying, well, we got to make the allowance that could happen again. Doesn't mean you're obligated to make it happen again. Now, they did, again, win the game. The Wolves won the game. I watched the end of it, but honest to God, the pressure that was put on the people handling the ball was scary. It was absolutely scary. And there were a couple of missed shots by the Pacers that could have changed everything. The game was there to be won, unfortunately. I know we're all supposed to talk about the lighting, and we'll get to the lighting later, the lighting that's changing everything. But I mentioned yesterday, the beauty of having those kind of lights is maybe you can just turn them off and nobody has to see how bad your defense is, because the defense against the Lakers was putrid.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that, I kidded early, like a lot of people, because the Wolves' offense was like it was 5 against 3.
Right.
And so the bit was, not quite as much pressure as the Wolves faced against Portland. Well, what we left out was the Lakers also figured out whoever we played last game, we ain't going to face the same pressure either. And look what they just riddled that team. There was no defensive pressure that I saw in that game. Did it feel anything like when we faced the Lakers in the playoffs where we were smothering them?
No.
Last year? No.
It did not.
No Doberman defense at all.
But Luka hurt his finger.
More like Chihuahua defense is what we've been playing so far.
The Fan and 2-Men and a junk truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. And the first keyword of the week is deposit. You can go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword deposit. Math checkers out there. Here's my unofficial totals before we get to some texts. The combined record of the 3 teams that the Vikings have beaten this year is 9-14. Nothing to write home about. I mentioned who the quarterbacks are we've beaten. Combined record of the team the Gophers have beaten is the combined record of the teams Gophers have beaten. I have is at 16-23. Also, not all that distinguished and impressive, but I'll let someone else do the math. Let me get to some texts. John, the mail carrier, give Gopher hockey a break, at least just a little one. I know that's hard, but they did lose 11 players from last year, graduation, draft, whatever. Top 5 scorers, I think.
Not sure about rest of teams. I need an old priest and a young priest. The power of Christ compels you. The whole state needs an exorcism, a sports exorcism right now. Richie from Lake Elmo, Wolves will recover. Wild are a grave concern. Did I see it? Is this accurate? Kaprizov has not scored an even strength goal yet?
That sounds right. I read an extensive Russo or Joe Smith story, a couple of them today.
That's what I thought. And our penalty kill is awful again.
Yeah, and
after our power play started great.
Yeah, that's also not very good either.
Yeah. This was the year the Wild would be free from the cap problems and be competitive. They signed Kaprizov to the big contract and lost to San Jose?
Oh, they got a point.
In evaluating the morose meter, you have to consider the opponents. I think Iowa is better than we all thought. I think that's possible. I don't know how you feel about it.
It's possible, but
that's still...
It was such a meltdown in 20 minutes that we'll never know.
No. Vikings just look like a bad team. This is Paul from Corona, California. Corona, California. Do you know where Corona is? I'm not familiar.
I think it's by L.A.
Is it?
Yeah.
Corona.
I mean, relatively speaking.
California. The Vikings, hands down, worry me the most. Gophers are who they are. They're going to win a couple more games, go to a bowl. The Wild, they'll chew things up, go to the playoffs, be out in the first round. I think the Wolves, you didn't even mention them. They'll probably do pretty well in the playoffs, but the Vikings, I think they're a mess. I think they're done. I think Kwesi is to blame. Well,
Corona between Riverside and Anaheim.
Okay, so Southern Cal.
A little east of Anaheim.
Gotcha. I alluded to this yesterday, and Ben Gessling wrote about it. He kind of had hinted Friday that he was going to. What's the comeback been all along to you didn't sign Aaron? You didn't find a way to keep Darnold, even though it was expensive. You didn't find a way to keep Daniel Jones. The comeback has been, but then we wouldn't have all that money to spend on free agency. The box comeback to that was laid out in that piece and part of what we've talked about on Sunday. Most of those free agents are not performing thus far at anywhere near the level expected, right? The two defensive linemen, one of them doesn't even play.
Yeah.
Basically. Your center is out for we don't know how long. And who's the guard we got?
Will Fries.
Fries is, if you care about, Pro Football Focus rankings, and some are, Mike Zimmer doesn't, not all that exemplary there either. So that's the problem, is you needed, the whole offseason was about fixing the two lines, right? Or improving the defense. Because the defensive line wasn't viewed as awful, but it was, hey, we can enhance it, make it better. Interior pressure.
And they traded a guy because they thought it was so good.
That's also true.
The guy they just extended, Harrison Phillips.
They've gotten nowhere near the mileage out of those individuals that they expected. And, well, like I said, in the case of the offensive line, it's been a mess in part. Now, some of this is Darisaw related, obviously, and some of this is right tackle related. That has nothing to do with the free agency signings, but Ryan Kelly gets the 2-year deal, and Fry's got a 5-year deal worth $88 million. Let's remember that too, and we ain't getting the return. In Kelly's case, he can't play right now, and in Fry's case, it hasn't been all that impressive, right? Meanwhile, we go out and we get Jonathan Allen, right?
Yep.
3 years, $51 million. And then we signed Javon Hargrave for $30 million over 2 years. This was, again, let's remember that, both these players were released. Now, some of that had to do with the money they were owed there, but that also might have been a warning flag that there is a risk to investing in players who are a little longer in the tooth, right? Whether it's performance or it's due to injury. Either of those things apply. And so that's what's making it harder here. If we were getting great mileage from all those free agents, then it would be the easy comeback to the decision you made at the quarterback position, right? You go, yeah, but we wouldn't have any of those guys who've shored up our added pressure to our defensive front, and that they've finally stabilized our offensive line. And you know what now? We may not be the Hogs of 2025, but we can play physical. We can just control the ball at the end of a game and run 9 straight times. We can do all those things, and we can protect the quarterback too, because we're not getting any of that.
And if you are building a team and spending around a team or spending on a team around a rookie quarterback who's inexpensive, that rookie quarterback who's inexpensive has to play, right? That's the other part of it. It's another part of it.
Yes.
Because you could even broaden it out. I don't know if we mentioned the Daniel Jones part of it, because we mentioned Darnold, and we obviously, even going back to Cousins and, Aaron Rodgers.
Correct.
Part of the reason why Daniel Jones didn't come here is because it's harder to find a guy to come back up if that backup actually wants to play, if you are about to invest in a young, inexpensive quarterback, because that guy's going to go, well, I'm not going to get a fair shake here. So even though you might be paying me as much money or maybe even more money, I'm going to go where I think I can go play. And that's why Daniel Jones isn't here. And J.J. McCarthy has barely played still. Now, again, maybe it's just bad luck.
Yes, right.
But it's still reality.
It's reality. He's not been available for, we've played how many games this year? We're 3-4?
Yeah.
So 7 this year, 17 last year, 24 regular season games. He's been available for 2.
Right.
And again, that might not be anybody's fault, but it's a fact, which there's a domino effect to that, because it forces you to make a lot of different decisions, or at least consider some of those decisions as well. All right, let's say somewhat on schedule in case we do get a phone call we may get Adam Thielen today. If not, plenty of good fodder via the text line. A lot more material to cover. I didn't even mention Anthony Edwards looks like he's going to be out. They're saying 2 weeks.
That's what they think.
Johnny will give us more detail on that, I'm sure, at 5:30. And it looks like we're going to see get ready. How much do you know about Bones Highland?
Well, a lot more now. I watched him extensively.
We're going to get to know Bones Highland a little bit. We'll see how that goes. Back in just a minute here in the Fan. Ben Lieber will join in a little more than an hour, and John Krasinski, Johnny Athletic, will join at 5:30. Adam Thielen, kind enough to join us now via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. Adam, thank you for the time as always. I hope you are doing well. Let me get philosophical with you today a little bit, because you've been playing. How long have you been playing competitive football? How far back do you go? Were you like 5, 6, 7? How old?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I started playing tackle football in 7th grade.
7th grade, okay.
But, I mean, I've been playing football since I was, 4 or 5 years old in the backyard.
So here's my question. You play long enough, you're going to win, you're going to lose, right? It's the nature of the beast. I'm wondering if the longer you're in, the older you get, is it any easier to lose, or do you despise losing as much as you ever did?
Yeah, I think we're just like trained, and I guess I think you're just so used to this like 1-0 mentality, mm-hmm. right? Like this one game season every week. It just like you get so invested in that one game that it never gets easy losing, because you feel like the world is falling down on you, because it's like, again, like it's such a great mentality to have, this 1-0 mentality. But again, on the other side of that is when you don't get that 1-0 and you lose, you feel like it was all or nothing almost. So it definitely doesn't get easier. I think you just have stuff to lean on, right?
Right.
You kind of are able to lean on the big picture of like, hey, we're 3-4. And we're not that far mm-hmm. off from first place. Like it's not like anyone is 7-0, 8-0, in our division. So yeah, you just learn that there is a big picture to it. We're not where we want to be, but, we're also not that far off from where we want to be. So, you learn to look at the big picture rather than just that one game season.
What is I was listening to, actually, post-game, the Bears lost yesterday to Baltimore, and I happened to listen to some of the press conference of Ben Johnson, the Bears coach, and they were talking about, in that case, they had a lot of penalties again. And he said, look, we've been on this constantly. The coaches, we've tried everything we can to get across the significance of discipline, et cetera, and now it's kind of up to the leaders. He was very challenging of his personnel in this case, saying, I need my team leaders to sort of step up. I'm wondering if that also applies, again, you're not 0-7, you're 3-4, but the last 2 weeks clearly have not gone the way you wanted them to go. So is this a team, or on the best teams, does there have to be some internal discussion and policing that really has nothing to do with the coaches, just from within the locker room itself?
Yeah, I think the best teams I've been on and the best individuals I've been around are so hard on themselves that there isn't really a need to like have a butt chewing or motivational speeches. I think everyone knows before they even walk in that building to kind of review the tape of like, all right, like I didn't play my best game individually, or we didn't play great as a position group, or we didn't play great as an offense, right? Like there's already that feeling when you come in there. Those are the best players, the best teams I've been around. Just already know that wasn't acceptable. That wasn't good enough. And I got to find a way individually to work on the things that I'm not doing good enough to help this team win. And so, yes, is there accountability from within? For sure. Yes. But also it's kind of that individual mindset of like, all right, I didn't play good enough.
Right.
What do I need to do in the preparation standpoint to get better and to make sure that I'm performing on Sundays? And it's not all about performance. It's about the process. But, okay, what do I need to do in that process to make sure that I'm fully prepared and can feel confident going out and playing on Sundays? What
you've been around again for a while, right? So what do you see? And I know it's not your job to coach, but you got a good mind and you've been around the game a long time. You know what a good offense looks like. So what do you see right now? What do you think the struggles that you guys have had most recently to try to put together something consistent offensively? What do you see? What do you think needs to get better?
Well, I don't want to get too coach speaky, but it's like you look at our plays, like our total number of offensive plays. Mm-hmm. And I think from pretty much the entire season, they've been very low as far as total number of snaps in the game. And I think that just tells you that we're not staying on the field, giving us opportunities to make big plays, right? We have a lot of weapons, a lot of guys that can make plays in the run and the pass game. But we're not giving ourselves enough opportunities to do that by staying on the field. What does that come down to? Probably consistency on first and second down, getting positive plays. Probably not converting on third downs enough. I don't know what those stats look like for our team right now, but usually you can draw back to those two areas and you can tell if a team is, if an offense is having success or not by looking at those two areas, like, being efficient on first and second down and converting on third down. So, I think that's something that needs to be a point of emphasis, which obviously, we have an offensive minded head coach, which I'm sure he's diving and digging into those areas and finding how we can, be better. It's definitely something that we need to be consistent, because I think there's times that we've made some of those plays and done some really good things to set ourselves up to score and to move the ball and to stay on the field, keep our defense off the field. But we need to be more consistent in that approach.
Adam Thielen, kind enough to join us via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. Lots more to get to before we wrap things up with him. It appears there's nothing official yet, but the head coach, your head coach, is certainly making it sound like there's a good chance that J.J. McCarthy is going to be healthy enough to go when you guys play Detroit next, I think, on the road this coming Sunday. So let's just say, for the sake of this discussion, that's the way it goes here. We had the stretch with Carson Wentz, who's pretty battered, as I don't have to tell you. And so the decision is probably, could well be going back to J.J. If it is, what's your best advice to him? Again, you're a receiver, he's a quarterback, but what do you think as he's trying to just sort of get settled and reestablished? He's played 2 games thus far, right? 2 games in 2 seasons, because he couldn't play last year because of injury. What are the most important ways you think he can just go about trying to get started or restarted at the position?
Yeah, I think just that taking advantage of every single day. Even as a veteran player who's been in the league for 13 years, it's like I always tend to go back to that. Like, okay, I need to do more throughout the week so that on Sundays it just becomes natural or easy, or even just that gives you the ability to play freer, because you know that you put everything into it during the week. And what does that mean? To break it down, it means that, hey, if you don't feel comfortable with a certain play or a certain route, or you don't know exactly how Justin or Jordan is going to run a particular route, go pull them to the side. Go get those reps on the side and figure out a way to feel confident or know exactly what they're going to do or they're thinking. And so I think it's those things of taking real advantage of those reps and taking advantage of the weekly preparation, and then just letting it fly on Sunday. Because at the end of the day, you put all that work and all that time and all that effort into knowing the game plan and knowing the defense. Now just go let it fly. True. And you can live with those results. It doesn't make those results easy if they're not positive, but you can live with them because you knew that you gave everything you had into that. So that's usually my advice to anyone. Including myself. Sometimes you got to talk to yourself like, hey, am I doing enough throughout the week to make sure that I'm prepared and ready to go on Sunday and feel really confident about what I can do and how I can help the team. The
tough part, again, you look around the league at young quarterbacks in McCarthy's position, and generally speaking, they need time. Every once in a while, somebody will walk in and be unbelievable from the beginning, right? We've seen that happen occasionally, but more times than not, ones who end up being really good, they need to go through some ups and downs and some struggles. The kid at New England is a good reminder of this to me. Last year, there were people ready to give up on Drake May. Team wasn't as good, and he was struggling. This year, he's off to a terrific start, which indicates you got to let a young quarterback make mistakes. That, to me, is the tough part for JJ, because you guys all want to win, right? And this team was built in a lot of ways, free agency, to build on what you did what the team did last year with the 14-3 record. So it does, to me, add a little bit of pressure to him in that it's like, well, you may make some mistakes, but try to keep them to a minimum, man, because we're trying to get back in this race, and we want to be a factor this season. A bit unfair maybe to a young quarterback, but kind of the way it is, correct?
Yeah, I think they really were very intentional with the way that they built this team to be a team around him, built around him. Give him a great offensive line, give him great weapons, give him a great defense. And so I think at the end of the day, it's not that he should feel any more pressure. It should almost be opposite. It should almost be like everyone else around him should feel more pressure to do your job and to be the person that they brought you here or drafted you or signed you to be, right? Because at the end of the day, we need to be better around him to take some of that pressure off him. That's what good teams do. They find a way to be the best players, find a way to be the best players. And, to be able to take some pressure off some of the younger guys or guys with less experience. But at the end of the day, everyone needs those experience or needs that experience. They need those opportunities to be able to understand where they need to get better at, where they need to focus on. And I think he really felt that and took advantage of that those first couple weeks and was able to obviously use this last few weeks of being on the sideline to really focus on, okay, what do I need to get better at? What do I need to focus on? And you've seen that. I mean, his ability just to focus on those things has been really impressive. And you can tell that he's just been trying to get better and better and better every week and taking advantage of the time that he's been, a little injured and not been able to play to really just focus on how can I get better and work on those things while I have some time. Usually you don't get that. Usually it's you're in the fire week in, week out, and you're kind of learning through the fire, but he's had the opportunity to take advantage of just some time to be able to focus on the little things.
If the change is made, and this, again, who knows how the season plays out. Maybe Carson plays again for some reason, but I'm wondering, he's had this stretch where you guys turned to him as the backup, a guy who was brought in very late, right before the start of the season. You knew him, I think, a little bit. We talked about this, but have you learned anything about Carson Wentz being a teammate of his now and around him as much as you have him in a starter's role that maybe you didn't know or appreciate before you spent this much time around him?
Yeah, I think everyone can appreciate, his toughness, his attitude, his mindset, especially through the last few weeks through some tough circumstances. So yeah, I think you can appreciate that. A guy who just gives everything they have on the line when, they could have tapped out and whatever, maybe said, I'm not healthy enough to play or whatever. It's easy to tap out in those situations, but he didn't. He fought through it. He battled. He showed that he's got the heart, he's got the attitude to be able to help this team and do what it takes, even though he's not maybe necessarily feeling at his best. So you can always appreciate that as a player when guys kind of fight through tough times and give everything they got and play it at a really high level at times. So just definitely appreciation for his toughness and his mentality. And I think it was something great for any young guy to learn from, just that's what it takes in this league. You look at some of the top players in this league, top quarterbacks, play through some injuries. They're tough. They find a way to, even though they're not feeling their best, but to be at their great example for some of the young guys to learn from.
Last item, going back really to the beginning here. So how are you, when it comes to losing a game, how are you around the family? Are you one of those players who has to sort of like, everybody understands you're going to isolate yourself? Is it the exact opposite? You're not allowed to isolate yourself, that you don't even want to? How does Adam Thielen handle losing around his family?
Well, thankfully, I got a great wife who holds me accountable, so I don't think she would allow me to isolate myself. I think she'd kick my butt and make sure that I be a good dad first, right? So, obviously, first couple hours after the game, you're pretty frustrated. You're kind of sulking a little bit, and then you realize quickly that life is bigger than just football. As much as we put into this game and love this game and have, spent a lot of our lives playing this game, at the end of the day, I'm not on this earth to be a football player. I'm on this earth for much greater things than that, to be a great dad, to be a great husband, to be a great follower of Christ. So just really kind of, focus on that for a couple of days, obviously having the weekend off, and just to be able to really focus on that, and then come back refresh, re-energize when you are in that building to give everything you got. It was great to be able to be back on the grass today. It's never easy losing a game or a couple games in a row, and sometimes it just takes you just to be able to get back on the grass to kind of get some of those thoughts out of your head. And that was kind of how I approached this weekend, and definitely again just be back out there and refocus on a new opponent.
Are you a guy who watches a lot of other games? Like, will you watch Sunday night, the game last night? Are you constantly watching? Or are you a guy that need to watch all that much since you play?
Oh no, I love watching football. In fact, I think a lot of times when you start to watch more football, you start to feel a little bit better about some of the losses, because you start to realize that it's not easy. These teams that you think are unbeatable, they get beat, and the teams that you think can't win, they win. And so you just start to realize that every week is a new week. Every week is a one game season. And the more football you watch, you start to realize like this is a very competitive league, and it doesn't matter if you're 0-7 or if you're 7-0. Like it's hard to win games in this league, and anyone can win on any given Sunday. So that's what makes this game so great. And so frustrating at the same time, because you feel like on paper sometimes that you're the better team, but it doesn't matter. You got to go out there and prove it. And you got to find a way to win no matter what. And there's no easy wins in this league. When you do, you take advantage of them and you refocus. But yeah, I think that's why we play this game. That's why we love it so much. And that's why fans are so invested and why we get, paid a good amount of money to play this game, because people love it and it's a great game. So, yeah, I enjoy watching football when I have the opportunity to.
And you gotta prove it this week against another good team. That's the other thing, right? It's not like you walking back in. Well, I know you guys don't think in terms of gimmies, but obviously the Lions are legit. You know that as good as anybody. You're playing them there, so nothing easy about the challenge this week.
No, definitely not. And I think going into this little stretch we knew this was a big stretch coming up. Some really good football teams, obviously starting on against Detroit, who's one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. So great challenge for us, great defense that have just guys that are physical, fast, great just football players. I think when you look at tape, sometimes you either say, okay, this defense is really physical, or this team flies around and they play really well together, or man, they got guys in the back end that can cover. I think when you look at Detroit, it's like all the above. Like they do everything really well. They play really physical. They're fast. They fly around. They play really well together. So yeah, there's no weaknesses in that defense or really in that team. So, which is a great challenge for us. If you got to be at your best, and you got to play your best to win this week, and that's a great challenge for us. And we'll see what kind of resolve and what kind of grit this team has, and that's exciting to see.
Good luck on Sunday. Good conversation as always. We appreciate the time, Adam. We'll talk next week.
All right, thanks. Talk soon.
Adam Thielen, Vikings wide receiver, kind enough to join us. Don't forget, Johnny Athletic will join at 5:30. He'll give us the latest steam on the Anthony Edwards injury. The Wolves start this season. The lighting.
Don't forget about the trees.
The trees are back. That's big. That's actually interests me more than the lighting, as it turns out.
Should I feel bad that you mentioned this has not been the best weekend in Minnesota sports history? That as we were driving to the game yesterday, the family and I went to the game last night. Oh, good for us. I thought, wouldn't it be something if Edwards got hurt tonight?
Boom. And there it was.
4 minutes in, hits a three, nice little putback. And then Bones Highland is in. And I'm standing.
What do you got against Bones Highland?
Nothing. I just wasn't expecting to see him before the first media.
Is that his real name, by the way, or a nickname?
I don't know. We're going to learn.
I'm guessing it's a nickname.
We're going to learn it. But it is amazing.
So few nicknames in the league.
I know.
But anyway.
It is amazing, and this is going to sound, no kidding, but Ant never misses games. He's old school that way. He doesn't do load management. It's amazing the energy that building pulls from him.
No question.
Just with how he plays.
Yeah.
And when he's not there, you're like, this is a different team without Anthony Edwards, because we never have to see it. He's always out there. But anyway.
And now your guy, doesn't Dillingham have a busted nose?
Yeah, I saw that. So it's the Bones Highland show.
Bones Highland show for a while. Conley in and out. DiVincenzo, like I'm sticking with my position. I don't like him handling the ball that much. Sorry. What I've seen has not been helpful. Now, one would assume he has to become more of a scorer, right? Because with Edwards out, right, you need somebody to sort of, well, you're not going to beat Edwards, but at least try to emulate some of that or take some of the offensive pressure off. We'll have to see on that. And it's Denver tonight, right?
It is, yes.
Did you see the Joker double number? Did I see that over the course of his regular season, his career, regular season games, Joker has 166 triple-doubles?
That's possible, but can I stop you?
Yeah.
Vikings quarterback Carson Wentz will undergo surgery on his left shoulder and miss the rest of the 2025 season, sources tell The Insiders. Tom Pelissero. Wentz gutted it out as long as he could, but he was in severe pain Thursday night in L.A. Now we'll get the shoulder fixed. So, it's got to be J.J. McCarthy Sunday, or it's Brownstones time.
Well, unless we pick up another veteran.
Well, let's do that again, as opposed to just giving it to the guy who could change everything, Max Brosmer.
God.
Let's just grab another guy. Is Sam Howell still available?
I'm not even sure if he's in the league.
No, I know. But anyway, he did look like he was in a lot of pain.
So, I mean, go ahead and keep playing, and then hurt it so badly you're going to need surgery. I said Friday that I did absolutely think it was cruel to continue to play him.
I'm with you.
And I wasn't saying, like you are, that you bring Brosmer in, they're going to come back from 3 touchdowns down.
Right.
All I was saying is, you bring him in, and here's what you say to the kid. Hand off, some safe passes. If you see something interesting, go ahead. It's all right. But we're not asking you, that isn't even a fair position to put any quarterback in. But I actually thought there was a lack of humanity shown by a head coach who's known for his humanity.
I know.
That's the part for me. It wasn't for me, he's playing so badly that you have to play somebody else. My thought was, the game's over. This game's done. You're not going to win the game. Just get out of Dodge. And, I was left with the conclusion that they must have thought he was milking the pain, because he was, every time he went down,
it was terrible.
The wincing was awful, right?
It was terrible.
So how do you not pull him? I to this day, I don't think that's been explained in a way that makes any sense to me. So,
and you know me, I am a big Kirk Herbstreit guy.
Yes.
When he went on his soapbox about, I don't know if you heard this or talked about it. I mean, Wentz is crying on the bench, right? They cut to him. He's got his head. He's looking to the sky. There's tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
And Herbstreit is basically going Jimmy Dugan, there's no crying in baseball on him, and saying you got to be tough for your guys. And I wanted to go, Kirk, are you watching the game? He's getting killed. Every single play, something is going on with him. No one is questioning his toughness or ability to lead.
Well, but you heard what the coach after the game said, like, well, he wasn't going to get any further. Somebody said, was it the head coach?
May have been.
Because I think he was asked, why did you keep him in? Well, it's all about managing the pain. And I'm thinking, well, whatever it was, you have the idea that, well, he's not going to pull himself. He's not. No. He's one of those players who isn't going to do that.
Of course.
But you're the head coach.
Right.
So you have a right to say at some point. Now, you want him to do it because you think Brosmer is going to come in and go 12 for 12, which maybe he will. At some point, he might.
We'll never find out. We'll never get Thursday back.
But for me, it was just
humanity.
It was mercy.
I know.
It's like this game's over. You're not going to win. Even the interception he threw, they're already down 21 at that, but the game's over. So just be safe, throw some short stuff, which in the short amount of time Brosmer was in, that's what he did. He just threw some short stuff. Stay out of trouble. Don't get your head knocked off, because we don't need to lose another quarterback or another bad shoulder to another bad shoulder. So, it's that is interesting. So now, not that there was any real question any longer, because it was very clear that, the train was leaving the station with JJ. Here's my question, and this might perk you up. I'll believe J.J. McCarthy is healthy enough to play when I see him in a game for more than 5 plays in a row. Yeah. I'm serious. I mean, everybody says, well, there's this extra time. We're not that many days removed from being told it's still not there. So, again, we're assuming because he has to be the guy now, allegedly, you're back to this is the guy we built this whole thing around. You just heard Adam Thielen say it, that, he's going to be fine physically, but I don't think there's any guarantee on that at all. So your Brosmer Brownstone dream might well still become a reality. Who's to say?
Yeah, and I know we have to break. On Thursday, for the last month, I've been in Brosmer Brownstones because I'm a Brosmer Brownstones owner. But on Thursday, it wasn't because of that. It was because I'm watching Carson and going, every single time he's hitting the turf or hitting the deck or going back, he's chucking his helmet.
Yes.
Because he's in so much pain.
Well, do you think they just didn't?
What are we doing?
They thought he was being a diva? What other explanation is there that you didn't pull him, in all seriousness?
The only thing, I always hear that the medical staff of all these teams make decisions, and it's not. So is it that the medical staff said he's fine, and if he wants to go back out there, he can?
You're the head coach. You can make any decision.
No, you're right. I'm saying, is that the information that they're getting?
Right.
Or should the medical staff have said, this is untenable, we need to sit this guy down? Everybody looked. It looked horrible on Thursday night. I had people coming up to me at Gray's.
Could we go get Flacco?
Did you see him kind of try to scramble a little bit last night and move his feet or yesterday? Yeah. I did watch a little bit of that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could. I don't know. We should pause because we got to stay ahead for Lieber.
Well, yeah, we're very late. It's not my fault.
It's breaking news. We had to address it.
We did.